Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a news edition on Canal Algérie. These are the headlines. The remains of the late Algerian President Lamine Zerwal were laid to rest in Bouzouran Cemetery in Batna. President Abdelmadjid Tebboune led the mourners, accompanied by senior state officials. In the eulogy, the deceased was praised for his qualities and sacrifices as a freedom fighter, leader, and his courageous national stances were recalled. The president received condolences from kings, presidents, and leaders of several friendly and brotherly countries on the death of the late President Lamine Zerwal. In scenes reflecting respect and appreciation for the late president, huge crowds of citizens participated in the funeral of this iconic figure. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Algeria bid farewell this Monday to an exceptional man, a devoted mujahid who gave his youth and his life to the struggle to free this country from the shackles of oppression and to restore its sovereignty. Algeria has also paid tribute to the wise man and steadfast president that he was, and to the man who was able to lead the nation with calm and clear-sighted leadership through some of the most difficult times in its history.
الوطنية من الشرق للغرب، من الشمال إلى أقصى الجنوب.
نشهد أنه يعطف كثير 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 على البساط.
The best of men perish, but their legacy remains. It was in an atmosphere of solemn reverence that the body of the late Lamine Zerwal has been laid to rest at the Bouzouran Central Cemetery in his hometown of the province of Batna. The funeral was led by the President of the Republic, Abdelmadjid Tebboune, Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces, and Minister Delegate to the Minister of National Defense, Chief of Staff of the PNA, senior government officials and senior officials of the Ministry of National Defense and the National Army. A large crowd of the general public as well as many prominent national figures.
الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم، وصلى الله وسلم على المبعوث رحمة للعالمين. اللهم إن عبدك هذا سينزل ضيفا عليك، اللهم أكرم ضيافته، اللهم ثبته عند المسألة، اجعل قبره روضة من رياض الجنة، اللهم جازيه الجزاء الأوفى على ما قدمه خدمة للعباد والبلاد، اللهم زد له في الأجر والثواب، اللهم أبدله أهلا خيرا من أهله، وجيرانا خيرا من جيرانه، ودارا خيرا من داره، اللهم ارحمه ووالدينا وأموات المسلمين. اللهم إنك والي حميد رحمن رحيم، قلت وقولك الحق، أنا أرحم بعبدي من الأم بولدها. اللهم إنه سينزل عليك ضيف في يوم الاثنين، اللهم إن هذا يوم النور، اللهم نور قبره وقبور الأموات، ارحمه والأموات أجمعين. أما الأحياء الحاضرين من الرئيس والمسؤولين، اللهم ثبتهم يا كريم، وأكرمهم يا عظيم، ووفقهم لما تحبه وترضاه. اللهم وفق الراعي والرعية ورئيس الجمهورية، ووفقنا جميعا لما تحبه وترضاه، رحمة للأموات وصبرا للمصابين وأجرا للحاضرين. وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على نبينا الأمين، والحمد لله رب العالمين. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون، وسلام على المرسلين، والحمد لله رب العالمين.
Following the burial of the former President of the Republic, the late Liamin Zerwal, the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, offered his condolences and paid his respects to the family of the deceased, presenting his son with the national emblem to which the deceased had dedicated his life, so that Algeria might remain standing, proud and sovereign. In a eulogy delivered by the Director of Information and Communication at the General Staff of the People's National Army, the General Mabrouk Saba, the qualities and achievements of the former President of the Republic, the late Liamin Zerwal, were highlighted. In particular, his brave stance while praising his sincerity and loyalty in the conduct of the country's affairs.
وبعد أيام فقط من ذكرى عيد النصر في 19 من مارس، الذي كان أحد صناعه رفقة إخوانه من شهدائنا الأبرار ومجاهدين الأخيار، الذين اصطفاهم المولى عز وجل واختارهم لمهمة تحرير الجزائر من براثن المستدمر البغيض واسترجاع السيادة الوطنية. كيف لا؟ وهو الذي التحق بالثورة التحريرية المجيدة ولم يتجاوز عمره 16 سنة، مجاهداً في صفوف جيش التحرير الوطني، ملبياً نداء الواجب المقدس، مكافحاً ضد المحتل الغاشم، منافحاً من أجل التحرر والانعتاق. فكان بذلك المجاهد الشجاع الباسل والثوري القدوة. بعد معركة التحرير، وبنفس روح الكفاح والإصرار وبنفس العزيمة الثورية، أسهم الراحل وبقوة بعد استرجاع السيادة الوطنية في معركة التعمير والتطوير، مواصلاً المسيرة في صفوف الجيش الوطني الشعبي بكل تفان وإخلاص، متدرجاً في الرتب والمسؤوليات التي أداها بكل اقتدار وكفاءة، حيث تقلد العديد من الوظائف، منها قائداً للمدرسة التطبيقية لأسلحة القتال، قائداً للواء 12 مشاة ميكانيكية، قائداً للقطاع العملياتي جنوبي تندوف، قائداً للأكاديمية العسكرية لمختلف الأسلحة بشرشال، قائداً للنواحي العسكرية 6 و3 و5 على التوالي، قائداً للقوات البرية ونائباً لرئيس أركان الجيش الوطني الشعبي. وبفضل مؤهلاته الكبيرة قلد الفقيد العديد من الرتب، كان آخرها رتبة عميد في نوفمبر 1988. وبعد أن أدى واجبه كاملاً في الجيش الوطني الشعبي لم يخلد للراحة ولم يتردد في تلبية نداء الوطن مرة أخرى حين كانت البلاد في أمس الحاجة إليه، حيث عين وزيراً للدفاع الوطني في 10 من جويلية 1993، ثم رئيساً للدولة في 30 جونفي 1994، لينتخب في 16 نوفمبر 1995 رئيساً للجمهورية الجزائرية الديمقراطية الشعبية.
For his part, the Minister of Mujahideen and Right Holders, Abdelmalek Tashrif, emphasized in his eulogy the immense sacrifices made by the deceased for the country.
بمنتهى الألم والأسى تودع الجزائر اليوم فارساً من فرسانها وقائداً من قاداتها الأفذاذ الذين وهبوا الوطن زهرة أعمارهم، فما توانوا عن نصرته وهم في ريعان الشباب، بل اندفعوا بكل ما أوتوا من جسارة وإخلاص، فأتوا الثورة التحريرية وخطوا نصيبهم في الجهاد المبارك في صفوف جيش التحرير الوطني حتى ظفرت الجزائر بحريتها واسترجاع سيادتها. إنه فقيد الجزائر الذي ننعيه اليوم والقلوب يحتصره الألم، إنه أحد الرموز الخالدة والقادة الميامين، الرئيس الأسبق المجاهد اليمين زروال، شمله الله بوافر رحماته وجزيل مغفرته. إن الراحل تشهد له الجزائر ويشهد له التاريخ كمجاهد فذ وعسكري محنك وسياسي حكيم.
The funeral for the former President Yamin Zerwal departed from Batna province towards Buzuran Central Cemetery via the province's main roads. Citizens from all corners of the country lined along the route in order to pay their final respects to the statesman and exceptional leader known for his courageous stances, wisdom and loyalty. A president who loved Algeria and to whom the people paid respect and gratitude. The remains of the former President of the Republic, the Mujahid Yamin Zarwal, arrived this morning at the Batna province for a final tribute paid to him by hundreds of people who came from all parts of the country. This scene reflected the love and the loyalty of the people towards the valiant sons of Algeria, who made the greatest sacrifices so that the country would remain proud and sovereign. Before this, the deceased's remains has been transported to his family home before being buried after the Dhuhr prayer at the Buzuran Central Cemetery. The President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, has received a message of condolences from his brother, His Highness Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, following the passing of former President of the Republic and Mujahid Yamin Zarwal. In his message, the Emir of Qatar expressed his sincere condolences and heartfelt sympathies over the great loss. The President of the Republic also received a message of condolences from His Highness Sheikh Abdullah bin Hamad Al Thani, Deputy Emir of the sisterly state of Qatar, following the state and the death of the late President Yamin Zarwal, expressing his sincere condolences. Following the death of the former President of the Republic and Mujahid Yamin Zarwal, President Abdelmajid Tebboune received a message of condolence from the custodian of the two holy mosques, King Salman bin Abdulaziz Al Saud. In his message, the Saudi king expressed his sympathy and prayed to Almighty Allah to grant the late leader his mercy and to give patience and comfort to the Algerian people during this time of sorrow. The President of the Republic also received a message of condolences and sympathy from the Crown Prince and Prime Minister of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, Mohammed bin Salman bin Abdulaziz Al Saud, in which he expressed his sincere condolences to the family of the late President Yamin Zarwal and to the Algerian people, praying to Allah Almighty to grant him His holy mercy and to grant the Algerian people patience during these hard times. Another message of condolence addressed to the President of the Republic from the President of the Islamic Republic of Mauritania, Mohammed Ould Sheikh Al Ghazawani. Following the death of the former President of the Republic and the Mujahid Yamin Zerwal, the Mauritanian President expressed his sincere condolences and his feelings of compassion to the President of the Republic, as well as to the Algerian people, praying to Almighty Allah to grant the deceased His holy mercy, to welcome him in His vast paradise, and to grant his family patience. The President of the Republic has received a message of condolence from the President of the Republic of Burundi, Evariste Ndayishimiye, following the passing of the former Algerian President and Mujahid Yamin Zerwal. In his message, the Burundian leader expressed his deepest sympathy and extended his heartfelt condolences to the family of the deceased and to the Algerian people during this difficult time. Another message of condolence from the President of the State of Palestine, also addressed to the President of the Republic, Mahmoud Abbas, expressed on his behalf and on the behalf of the Palestinian people his immense sadness and profound compassion, praising the qualities of the deceased and his unwavering support for the Palestinian people and their just cause until his final days. The Palestinian president affirmed that the memory of the deceased will remain forever engraved in the hearts of the Palestinian people, praying Allah Almighty to grant him his vast paradise. The Secretary General of the Arab League, Ahmed Abul Ghaith, offered his sincere condolences to the President of the Republic, expressing the family of the deceased and the Algerian people of his deepest condolences during these painful times. The head of state also received a message of condolences from the chairperson of the African Union Commission, Mahmoud Ali Yusuf, who expressed his profound sadness following the death of the former President of the Republic and Mujahid Yamin Zerwal. He offered his sincere condolences to the Algerian government and people, as well as the family of the deceased, and expressed his full solidarity and the solidarity of the African Union Commission with the Algerian nation during these hard times. Members of the African Union Peace and Security Council observed a minute of silence in remembrance of the late Mujahid, former President Yamin Zerwal, in the presence of the ambassador and permanent representative of Algeria to the African Union. A principled statesman, former president, a veteran, Yamin Zerwal shaped a pivotal chapter in Algeria's history. Though he is gone, the memory and of his integrity and commitment to the nation's unity and steadfast leadership continues to resonate across Algeria and its diaspora in France. Coverage by Afaf Belhouchat, taken up by Melissa Lila Belaman.
At the center of the Arab and international stage stood a constant, a principled man, unwavering on the essentials, sovereignty, the rule of law, and international legitimacy.
Il était contre les magouilles, contre la diplomatie secrète.
He stood with Palestine, recently demonstrating for Gaza. He rejected backroom deals and secret democracy, but also hardline strategies. Above all, he believed in Algeria's sovereignty and independence, that Algerians must solve their own problems, that defined his presidency and political path.
One moment endures. In New York, at the United Nations, the Algerian president refused an off-camera meeting with Jacques Chirac. He cancelled it outright, a rare move that left a lasting mark on the diaspora.
At the UN, Chirac wanted to meet him, but given how Algeria and Algerians had been treated, he refused, even when Algeria was far weaker financially than today. He had the courage to say no. It sent a strong message internationally, and for the diaspora, he was also the first to appoint both a Secretary of State and a Minister of State for Immigration.
Beyond the head of state, there was a vision, placing a historically rooted diaspora at the core, from the origins of the national movement to today. The same sense of gratitude endures, even among those who never knew him, with the image of a principled, widely respected man. For historians, that memory lives on in the singular, deeply emotional bond between Algeria and its diaspora, underscoring his lasting weight in the country's modern history.
Je me souviens.
I had the honor of representing our community abroad at the National Conference of January 30th, 1994. I remember the atmosphere alongside my late brother, Abdelrazak bin Hamouda. That day, Algeria's destiny was entrusted to a man of integrity. He united the country around an unshakable foundation, the principle of November 1954.
De l'Algérie de novembre 1954.
He was a great soldier, a true patriot, one Algeria will never forget. Without the President Zeroual, the country would not be what it is today. He preserved the state and kept its institutions standing.
Se souvenir de l'homme intègre qu'il a été.
The memory of his integrity, the courage he showed during that critical period, and what he represented, including for the diaspora, reminds us of his weight in Algeria's modern history.
Nous ramène aujourd'hui à mobiliser nos souvenirs.
Tributes were anonymous, in France and Algeria alike, emotion matching his stature.
Je voudrais adresser au peuple algérien, Monsieur le Président de la République, Abdelmadjid Tebboune.
On behalf of the Grand Mosque of Paris, its staff, and Muslims across France, I extend our deepest condolences to the Algerian people, to the President of the Republic, Abdelmadjid Tebboune, and to all Algerian authorities following the passing of the Mujahid Liamin Zeroual.
France, nos condoléances les plus attristées.
Liamin Zeroual is gone, but his legacy, restrained, enduring, respected, remains. History will not forget.
In cooperation, the Prime Minister of the Republic of Serbia, Đuro Mačuć, arrived on Monday for a working visit at the head of a high-level delegation. He was received upon his arrival at Hawari Boumediene International Airport by Prime Minister Sifir Riyib, accompanied by a ministerial delegation, along with the Secretary-General of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Lounas Mukhtar, and the Algerian Ambassador to Serbia, Mahres Fatah. This visit falls within the framework of strengthening cooperation relations between Algeria and the Republic of Serbia. It aims to consolidate bilateral cooperation and expand partnerships prospects, particularly in economic fields. The visit also reflects the political will of the two countries' leaders, President Abdelmadjid Tebboune and his Serbian counterpart, Aleksandar Vučić, to elevate bilateral relations and to broaden levels of enhanced cooperation and coordination and consultation on issues of common interest, including investment. On the instructions of the President of the Republic, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, the National Community Abroad and African Affairs, Ahmed Attaf, was received on Monday in Zagreb by the Prime Minister of the Republic of Croatia, Andreja Plenković, who conveyed his sincerest condolences to the President of the Republic and to the Algerian people following the death of the former President, Liamin Zeroual. For his part, Minister Ahmed Attaf expressed his sincere gratitude to the Croatian Prime Minister for his solidarity with Algeria and conveyed him the greetings of the President of the Republic and his keenness to join work and to give new impetus on bilateral relations and strengthen them in a way that serves both countries. The Minister of State, Minister of Foreign Affairs, National Community Abroad and African Affairs, Ahmed Attaf, held private discussions on Monday in Zagreb with Croatia's Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign and European Affairs, Gordon Grlić Radman. The meeting was followed by an expanded working session bringing together delegations from both countries. Discussions focused on prospects for strengthening Algerian-Croatian relations, particularly in the fields of energy and renewable energy, industry, notably maritime industry, as well as desert agriculture, tourism and training. The two ministers also exchanged views on regional and international developments and explored ways to further enhance the Euro-Mediterranean partnership. Ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the end of this news edition. We wish you continue on watching Canal Algérie. Thank you very much and see you tomorrow.